What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Make It Custom. I'm Carl Fisher, and today I am back on the COE car hauler build. Really want to get going on this, make sure that there's as much done as possible before Brent gets here from Halfass Customs. Him and me are going to work on this for 4 days straight at the end of the month and see how far we can get in those 4 days working together and trying to get this thing driving. So in this video, I'm going to take care of the hinge mount at the front of the cab. It's got a torsion bar, it's got these big blocky mounts. I've got to somehow attach it to the frame so that we've got a way to locate and tilt and mount the cab, as well as work with steering box location and bracketry as well. So it's going to be kind of an interesting video. Got to figure a bunch of stuff out that just doesn't exist. So don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. Don't want to miss this COE build. It's going to be sweet. Let's get into it. All right, so if you have not been with us yet, this is a 1971 GMC COE cab. It was a fire truck. It has a hinge in the front to tilt the cab. That's how you used to be able to access the engine. That's how I'm going to mount it. So this is actually a pretty cool setup. So this is the torsion bar and the hinge. So this bar that goes across is a spring. It's a torsion bar that basically how it's going to work is this bracket coming from the cab is hooked to the subframe, and it's not bolted tight to this bar. It's actually pivoting on this bar right here. So this is the mount to the cab on both sides. You can see that. And then this is a hinge that bolts to the frame. Notice that this bracket looks much different from this bracket. This one is completely different. It actually also locks the torsion bar in. So this link pivots like this as the cab tilts. So if we were to tilt the cab, this bar would go like this, and then we would be able to tighten it against this locked kind of serrated slot here. There's a piece of hardware that locks that in. And then once that's locked, well, the cab is tilted. When the cab comes back down, it will load this spring and take the weight of the cab. That's so that a person could tilt this super heavy cab up on its end because it's got that spring-loaded bar. So, ooh, this is a dirty camera. Hold on. Little better. So yeah, that's a very important bracket, and it's asymmetrical. It's not the same on both sides. So I've got to kind of figure out a way to make that all mount very strong, as well as this is our steering link. So it's telescopic because as you tilt the cab, this steering would get longer or shorter. And it is pretty close to where I want to mount the steering box. So this steering box will be basically vertical, facing forward. These are the threaded holes that mount it. So right now those are facing forward. So I've got to be able to have a plate that goes sideways that I can bolt the steering box on. So my plan to start is to get a plate going from the outside of this frame rail that comes down. Might be able to see it easier this way. So there's the frame. I'm going to make a plate that comes down and forward that would mount a bumper, but it will have enough meat in it, being our main source of strength, because it's going to be a 1/4-inch plate that comes down, has maybe a bend at the end so that the bumper can bolt on, and then I can build off the side of that next to get the top of this bracket. So once that forward plate from the frame is here, I'll be able to make a plate and a template to make a side plate that bolts on to that part of the hinge and then somehow tie in these bolt holes. So like one thing leads to another, and that's kind of how you have to look at a problem like this, or that's not how you have to do it, that's how I like to do it, is start with what you know. I know I got to mount a bumper. I know I've got the strongest part of the frame is this outside piece here with 1/4 inch plate. So I'm going to make a main plate that the rest of the pieces can branch off of. And that goes for the steering box as well. I'll be able to figure out the steering box based on that plate as well. Okay, so I kind of have the steering box mocked up where I would like it to be. So you can see it's turned sideways. The lines are coming out of the side of it. It's bolting on at the front. So I'm gonna have a plate coming off of this main plate that I was talking about that will mount the steering box, but I need this in place so that I can see where the hole will be either in the plate that I'm making or it'll be notched underneath to clear where that steering arm comes out. So you can see that arm kind of fits nicely within the hinge here. I've got the steering box arm all the way forward, so it would be turning right at this point in time. So I've got it all the way forward so I can check the clearances around, you know, steering or that hinge anyway. But that's where it's sitting. I've got it tipped forward a little bit. There's the steering arm coming from the top. I'm not sure if that U-joint will allow it to go that far, but if it does not allow that much angle to be added, then I will have to go to what's called a double U-joint. They have a little bit more angle allowed in them. So I think it'll be okay, but we'll have to see. This is, like I said, a telescopic arm. I'll have to shorten it and then put a different U-joint on the end. I'll probably end up welding it on because I've got the U-joint that came with this box as well, and make an arm happen. But now that this is in place, I can continue making my template for this first main 1/4 inch plate that's going to come down. It's going to come in between the steering box and this hinge. It's going to come to the bumper mount, but I will build off of it to get these other strong points picked up. So I also had I took a little tracing, dirty finger template where you just rub your dirty fingers over top of the frame, and got these steering box holes, mapped out the steering box holes, and I've made a plate. Anyway, the drawings are for the frame horn, both sides of the frame, and then a center plate for the steering box, and then the other frame horn is just going to be another bar, but what has happened is my other computer that runs the CNC, I think that when the power went out, I accidentally ran it on generator power and fried the power source. So I'm going to do a little bit more guessing and a little bit more drawing just by measuring tape and kind of feeling it out. And then I'm going to take all this stuff to ELIO, and he's going to bail me out tonight. He's going to cut everything out, and if it's close, I'll be able to cut it and finagle it and still be able to build the front frame rail and steering box mount. All right, so a couple buddies bailed me out today. So I went to go CNC cut some plates, and I was only gonna do a couple plates and then kind of have a look and fit some stuff and then make some more patterns for more plates. I wasn't gonna try and do this all at once. And my CNC is down. So what happened was, I guess when we had a power outage here and I ran the generator through the panel, I may have put dirty power or generator power through the power supply on the computer. So basically I didn't even know what was wrong with it. I called my buddy Rich, and he's my CNC go-to guy. Had no idea. So I call Rich up, and he figures that my computer's probably okay and it just needs a new power supply, so I won't have to reinstall those programs and do that kind of stuff. I have a really archaic computer that runs the CNC. It's got like the pin printer plug that plugs into the CNC, so it might be time to upgrade. Anyway, thank you, Rich. I just want to shout Rich out for a quick second because he's always bailed me out and he's always hooked me up. He's been a really good friend. He also gave me this cool shop warming present. This is like a billet CNC powder coated logo for the shop, and I think it's really cool, so I wanted to show you guys that. And what he does, which I think is really neat, is he makes custom logos for cars. Like if you build yourself a cool truck, or you build yourself, you know, a hot rod or whatever, he makes like logos, like emblems that look factory and stuff. Anyway, I put his link in the description. Thanks, Rich, he bailed me out again. And then I went to ELIO's because he cut all this stuff for me since the CNC's down. So thank you, ELIO, and let's hope it works. Basically, I just drew that one template that you guys saw me draw, and then did a bunch of measuring and tried to like visualize cardboard box flap style how to build these front frame horns. That's what this is. This will fold into a frame horn. This will fold into a frame horn. One of them is wider than the other because the steering box is meant to slip inside there. So I kind of made provisions for that. Like this is where the steering box is going to come through the frame. Oh, can't see. This is where the steering box is going to come through the frame. And I made a little plate. I don't even know if this stuff's going to work, guys, but this is just kind of thoughts that I had. So we're going to see now. I'm going to stick this together and tack it all up. Thank you, Rich and ELIO. If you guys need anything from those guys, I put them in the description too. ELIO, another great thing about him is that he runs a fast cut CNC machine. And if you have like a napkin drawing that you need created into a DXF file so that you can have something cut like this, he does that kind of stuff, and he does small jobs and things like that. So you could hit him up, PEPERONIFAB.com, PEPERONIFAB at, oh, I'll put his email in the description so that you can get a hold of ELIO for that kind of stuff, and Rich's stuff. Okay, I'm gonna stick this together. Hopefully we got some frame rails that work. Well, I'm back here at Warren's place. This is Johnny and Warren. If you remember, a long time ago, there was a video where I went and visited this really cool place and checked out a bunch of really cool cars in an old shop. And I'd mentioned that the way I hooked up with these guys is that Johnny bought the cab over chassis. So I'm back here at Warren and Johnny's to check out the cab over chassis. He's kind enough to let me come by and grab the latch bar for the back of the cab. That's going to save me a ton of time because it has the pin, it has the hole, it has the cross member itself, everything to mount the rear of the cab. So there's really nothing that I need to do other than just kind of fab it onto that frame. So thank you, Johnny. He's not even here right now, actually. He's working. So Warren's here though, so we're gonna probably give him a little visit and see how he's doing. But I'm gonna start pulling off this this tarp and start pulling off this bar. Look at how massive this thing is, man. It just, I don't know if you can even tell in the video, but it is gigantic. Like, this is 6 feet tall right here off the ground. That is a gigantic gas V8. GM's largest gas V8 they ever produced was in this truck. All in a really crazy good shape. This is actually inside the cab. This is like your splitter and your shifter and all that kind of stuff. Super neat. But this is the bar I need right here. I don't need the whole thing, but I do want this pin, this latch. So I'll just start cutting it off. Here it is, got the piece I needed. Saves me a bunch of time because of obviously it's got the holes and mounting locations and dimensions of exactly what I would need to fabricate. So this is awesome. So thanks, boys.
It gets hung up on this little thing here. If I put it on faster, it goes.
Very cool. Man, thanks for showing me around again, Warren.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a different kind of house here.
It's just beautiful. Your work is amazing.
Yeah.
stuff, man?
It's called the blue stuff. It's like a aluminum brightener or metal brightener. It just eats everything away.
cleans it pretty good. He's alternating with that and the super clean purple stuff, degreaser. That's a metal brightener. So it's helping clean that aluminum and pull any of the dirt out.
It like pulls all of the porosity out of the metal, like all the oils and everything.
Show up.
Yeah, we're here. What's up, Brent? Esther, they're in the house. Halfass in the house. So these guys just got here, and we are going over the cab over project. ELIO and I just tucked the motor in last night. We just kind of stuffed it in there just as a mock-up. But we're just going to continue on mounting the cab and then go to the motor, and I guess just keep ticking boxes, right? Like
Yeah.
today, I think the main goal is mount the cab, have that solid, then we can take out any of that, any of the wood that's kind of holding it up. And
I'm
then,
thinking, yeah, the goal is to get the cab mounted, and then we can kind of work on the motor and not worry about the cab moving or getting out of
yeah,
lineup.
that makes the most sense to me too. I think that's the idea. So here are those pieces that I started fabbing up. And so we've kind of talked about it a little bit and figured out how it's going to work. Like we're just going to mount these mounts off the side of these rails.
I think this is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't have two
exactly
hands.
that. Right there. So this will be bumper mount. We'll make some kind of mount off the side of the rail for the hinge. And that's the cab mount essentially. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to get started on that. And then the back of the cab, we did scavenge that piece right there that clips onto
This
the
one?
cab, yep. And that is basically the only chunk that I really needed. That has to weld to the frame down there. So we're gonna use some HSS and do that. So that's, I guess, goal number one. And yeah, big welcome to Brent and Esther. They traveled a long way to be here. So excited. It's gonna be a heck of a 5 days, I'm pretty sure. So I think that's it. We're just gonna start to boogie. What do you think, Brent?
Let's go.
All right.
I'm good to go.
So I'm just gonna grind and prep the frame a little bit and get these things tacked on. So just ground them up and get ready to mount on these frame rail ends. This frame rail is a little oddly shaped. 4 inches at the bottom, 4 1/4 at the top. Seems like a job for the persuader. Okay, so this is what we're thinking. So don't mind this. This is gonna end up being our steering link that goes kind of inside the center here. But now I've just got to build a bracket that attaches this to the side of our frame horn. Well, this is one of those build as you go scenarios. So we've got this side kind of tagged in here. It's mounted to the hinge right there. It's nice and strong. This stuff's at least quarter. I think it might even be 5/16 or something. Super beefy. So I just have to tie it into the back there and then do the same to the other side. But the funny thing is look at the way the angle iron is here. That's kind of how the frame used to be on the old cab. But on this one, it's the opposite. It had the angle iron mounted on this side. So it's just gonna be a slightly different asymmetrical kind of deal. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, but the angle is gonna be like this, and then I'll cap it. So they're gonna look different, but they'll work the same. And while I'm on that, Brent's over here just petting dogs. Kidding. He's working on the back. He's got the motor mounts on, trying to figure out what we're gonna do next for that. Just got the adapters and little urethane mounts. Should be a simple little mount. His idea, we're gonna have it so that everything drops out the bottom. Good timing on the compressor, but everything's gonna be made so that motor and tranny, if it had to come out, could drop out the bottom. So Brett's just cleaning up a piece to finish off the passenger side frame rail. I'm just got this piece of angle here. I'm gonna put it kind of kind of in here like that. I think that should grab the back, and then we can also put a plate on the side to close that in, and then we'll have optimal strength. All right, so front frame horns are on and we're mostly welded up. Haven't done the lovely underneath welding yet. I will do that in a moment, but we are ready to put this cab a little bit lower in the back so that it's nice and ready for the back mount. The front is at least on and pivotable. So now we've got to just kind of align the cab perpendicular to the chassis here, and then this rear mount can be made by that guy. It can if you've got Brent the gigantic farmer here. Well, something a little interesting we're finding out is that the spring on the driver's side is sagged really bad. So now that it took the full weight, the thing's sitting crooked like this, so we're trying to align the back of the cab, but you can't measure to the floor. So it's looking better now that we've got it sitting up on jack stands. Truck's sitting level again. I just added this little cross member in between the two frame horns just because the outside of this was kind of torquing. This big box is still open, so I think that'll hopefully help it. But next up, I'm gonna weld the bottoms of these, the fun job, upside down welding, and then try and add some structure into where this rail ties into the frame because it's extra wide. It doesn't get to tie into the side of the frame here. I'll have to add some kind of stuff. Brent's got the back cross member all happening. 3x3 comes straight up from the chassis.
Straight-ish.
All right, so what is going on? End of day one, we just had some dinner, and Brent has finished this wicked mount at the back. So the back of the cab is mounted. We are almost ready to tilt it. What I have to do still is finish strengthening up where it attaches to the frame. Now, Brent did a bunch of welding, I did a bunch of welding. We've got the frame horns that are fabricated, welded on all the edges. And now, basically, I've just got to tie this in to here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna build a gusset that This is a C channel that's open at the bottom, this right here. So I'll probably put a plate underneath, bridging and boxing that C channel, and then tying it into here. Maybe a little bit of an angle so that this load transfers more into this. Right now it's just this that's welded on and to this end of the frame rail. I do believe that I should definitely box this in and connect it as well. Then it will be strong enough that we can confidently tip this cab. And yeah, that'll be a milestone. End of day one, the cab tilted. That is the goal. Okay, we're about to do the tilt. We got some buddies here in case somebody needs to call 911. The latch is on here. This is an extra locking mechanism that locks the cab from going way too far. Everything's welded up. Here,
Not going that far first round.
we're hoping we're not going that far first round. So we're gonna give her a shot anyway. So, what are you guys?
Yeah, you don't bring up front.
You guys are thinking just like man lift it?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
It's one of us.
Well,
I don't know. I know right away in 2 seconds.
Boston's so heavy, boys, but.
I don't know. Okay, try guys.
1, 2, 3. It's moving.
How much do you need?
I need more. How heavy is it? Little more and get the fucking bolt.
Do we just go full Monty and lock it?
You're at a good balance point right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then the torsion bar must do it when it goes all the way. I don't know. If it's not.
Lock one of your pin, check your pin underneath it.
I mean, you have another. Yeah, you're almost there. It's gonna hold itself right now. Is it?
You gotta pull it, or is it gonna do this?
It's supposed to hold. It's supposed to hold itself right there.
Yeah, I know. Does it lock itself or no?
Yeah, do you want to keep pushing it or?
If you're letting, let's do it right there.
I probably put
that's the torsion bar as the safety. So I'll do the torsion.
Well, for now, where it's sitting, Carl,
Yeah.
if you grab a bottle jack or something, you can actually just put more effort in there.
More effort in the torsion bar, right?
Yeah. To be,
That's the
do
idea.
the torsion bar higher, that if anything, you have to work to lock it, it's gonna want to stay up.
Right.
But you should be able to lift it yourself.
Here.
That's what you do in there. There's another 2x4 beside you. Stuff.
You guys scared?
No, we're on the safe side of this.
Yeah. Should I have been scared? You need to schmam me up.
Yeah, right there. No, you don't. I just use the handle.
Oh, the handle is.
Use the random.
Everything's a hammer.
Everything's a hammer.
Everything's a hammer. Except hammers. Hammers are screwdrivers.
And you made it self-locking, probably. Don't need a lock washer anymore.
Nope. Size of 5 school.
And I'm thinking that if you had to guess, if I had to guess, I'm thinking 3/4.
You had a guess?
I think so.
Okay.
So grab a handful of inches, because no way to do this. Look at all the room for activities when you get this done.
Those ones would have been easier. Oh, Brent. How happy. It is big. It's like a thing. What the fuck is this? Metric line?
Here, where's fine thread?
Oh, it's one of these. Bullshit. 9/16 sport. Well, look at that. A bunch of buddies came over, helped us lift it, and we are good. The hinges work good. The back mount works awesome. You know, day one.
We had to do a little bit of tweaking because you were saying how it was bent, like not working. We realized the torsion bar puts a load on the front, which we just had to dump a little bit of that tension off of there, and then everything was coming down, latching right after.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I even covered the struggles that we had. So that is what it is. It's like everything was squared up to this pin back here, that right there. And when we tilted it the first time and applied a bunch of torsion, the back of the cab ended up pushing over a little bit and not lining up with that pin.
I was pushing for enough torsion that I could lift it with my pinky, but
Yeah, I guess It's not quite that luxurious. So now, I mean, it tilts, it works fine, but we did take some of the torsion off of it so that it lines up normal now, and it works awesome. But day one is a win in the books, I think. Got the cab mounted. Was our main concern, the hinge, the front of the frame, that's all done. And tomorrow we are gonna get onto...
Hopefully getting this running.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get it running, get it all mounted. That will be tomorrow's thing, but I'm gonna flip you guys. But I'm gonna call that a video. So, end of day one. Thanks a lot for watching Make It Kustom, everybody. Don't forget to check out Brent's channel. That is Halfass Kustoms. He is also doing videos each day, at least, while he's here working on this cab over. So there's gonna be stuff to see on both channels, so definitely go check him out. Halfass Kustoms, good stuff. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. We'll see you next time.